sure the recording is started. Okay. You want to know, how do you take a PLR package and start your business or build it up or get started? Does that sound like an accurate question? Does that sound like something that at least some of you all have expressed in the survey? Maybe it hasn't been you directly, but you want to know, where do I get started with this stuff? I have private label rights. Maybe you got some of it free as a bonus. Maybe you actually saw something and you liked it, and you liked the package well enough that you felt like, I want to learn from it, but also now I want to figure out how I can make money from it. So let's kind of go through this. Now, what I'm going to do, I decided I'm going to dispense with the intro, right? Because I've got a lot of stuff I want to cover, and I'm not really important in this, so let's just kind of get right into the content. Now, let's start with the case where you have a PLR package and you don't have an email list, right? You don't have an email list in your niche. Now, if that's you, right? If that's you, now I'm the only one that can see your answer. Please put a 1 in the question box. You have PLR, you have products on your hard drive, but you don't have an internet marketing mailing list. You don't have an email list to speak of that you can email and that they will be looking forward to what it is you have to offer. If that's you, put a 1 in the question box. And if it's not you and you do have one, please put a 2 in the question box. That'll help me. So you have you have PLR, but you don't have a list. Okay, so what do you do? So when you buy PLR, here's the classic business model, right? And I want to make sure that this is something as you understand it. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take the sales page that you get and host it, right? So maybe you buy the upsell, the one-time offer, and you get the sales page, and what you're supposed to do is to host that sales page. You're supposed to place some buttons on there, a PayPal button or JVZoo button, Warrior Plus button, or some shopping cart, right? So that's what you're supposed to do next. And then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to drive some kind of targeted traffic to it, or in the email. So in other words, you can then take that page, that sales page, and you can post it on social media. Now, Facebook and some of the other social networks are starting to look at those things carefully. They're starting to crack down on what they view as promotional posts. But basically, if you have people that are on your social networking side and they look forward to what it is that you have to offer, you could post that as an offer to the people that are connected to you. You could also get inside of forums, right? You could get inside of a forum like Digital Point, Warrior Forum, or one of the other internet marketing forums, and you could have your offer in your signature file, right? That's another way that you could get traffic if you don't have a list to your sales page that you bought with the PLR. You could also drive traffic through it through your blog or using SEO. So in other words, SEO, you attract people by writing content or driving people to your blog and then having a link from a blog article to your sales page. In other words, so the sales page itself is probably not going to rank in the search engine for anything that anyone's looking for, but you can rank a blog post if you know your keywords and you're able to get a blog post rank if you want to play in that game or you want to play in that league. That is another way. You can also use video, and video is pretty hot these days, and video is being used in terms of SEO, and sometimes video is being used as a strategy all by itself, right? So you see people that are just playing the video game where basically they're just driving traffic from inside of YouTube and some of the other social sharing networks. Or you could do some combination of all these things and then supplement with solo ads and ad swaps, right? Now I've got that in there twice, so that I don't know why I did that, but okay, solo ads and ad swaps. So that is the classic business model. Does that look familiar to you? Right? If that looks familiar to you, put a Y in the question box. In other words, you buy the PLR, what you're supposed to do is host it and drive traffic to it. If that is what you understand, or that's what you've always understood, please put a Y in the question box. Okay, very good. So most of you have seen that business model and you understand it. Now, here's the strength of that model, right? The strength of it is that it doesn't cost a lot, right? So it doesn't cost anything to get on social media, right? It doesn't cost anything to get on forums. It doesn't cost anything to host a blog. I mean, maybe you're hosting and your domain name. It doesn't cost anything to do YouTube. It doesn't cost not much to do solo ads. It doesn't cost anything to do ad swaps. So all the strength of this is that if you can drive traffic in these ways, you're gonna get quick cash, and you're not gonna have done a lot of work because you didn't really have to create the content in the first place, right? So somebody else created the content, somebody else created the product. All you did is stick a buy button on there, drove some traffic to it. So if that works in that way, the classic model, right? Then it is relatively quick cash, however much you get, and it didn't cost you a lot in terms of time. Now, here's the weakness. Now, when you have an offer that everybody else has, it's going to be hard to recruit affiliates, right? How many of you all have had, if you've tried this, how many of you all have been able to successfully take a PLR package, use the sales material, and then attract and recruit affiliates? Right? Some of you have expressed the fact that part has been difficult. Yeah, and sometimes it is because there are a number of people out there with the product, and because it is something that you have not. Yes, it takes a few extra steps in order to do. Now, that's one weakness with the model. Another weakness is, as we said, somebody else might have the same product or the sales page. Or now, here's the biggest weakness as I see it. Right? As I see it. So with the classic model is, you didn't create the product, right? You drove traffic to the sales page, not necessarily through any content that you put together. You really have put together little to no authority. So in other words, those folks have very little reason to come back to you and take another product recommendation that you do. Does that make sense? So if that's making sense, the classic model, right, if that's how you understand it, please put the number 2 in the question box. Okay, if that makes sense. That is a classic model with PLR. Now, that's if you don't have a list. Now, what is it if you have a list? Now, if you have a list, then, of course, it's pretty much the same. You host the page, right? You host the page. Then you set up a marketing funnel. In other words, you have a list already. So what you're doing is you get your page. You're going to set up a marketing funnel. You're going to make sure you've got that offer. You're going to make sure you've got an OTO ready. Right now, you didn't create the product, but you're making sure that you've got them back to back so that you can take advantage of all the traffic if they come through your marketing funnel. And then you're going to do pretty much the same thing that we talked about. Whether you have a list or a classic list, you're going to use all those same methods to drive targeted traffic, but you're mainly going to use your email list. Right? That is your main source of traffic. You have a list. So you're gonna mainly drive traffic to your offer using your list. Now, here's the strength of doing that. If you buy PLR and you send that traffic from your list to your sales page that you bought, here's the strength. Now, that leverages time and money. In other words, you're not spending a lot of time on this, right? So somebody else created the product. Somebody else wrote the copy. Somebody else got the sales material together, so you didn't even have to hire somebody in order to put together the graphics. You just sent the traffic from your email list, right? So that leverages your time. It leverages your money. And also, the other strength is this, or the other weakness is, again, is authority, right? So you don't have a lot of authority, just like the other way. And again, I mean, other people have the same materials. And the other thing is that even if you have a list, right? Even if you have a list, what can happen is a customer can very easily price shop, right? Somebody can easily price shop and go and find it for another price. So you've got a sales page out there. Somebody else has got it. And if somebody else decides to sell it cheaper, even if it's from your list, you might have a few problems from your customer. That's one weakness with the model. Now, the other thing is this. If you think about this, one of the things that you want to think about when you are marketing PLR of any kind, you have to start thinking about this in a totally different way. And I'm going to be telling you about twisting this model so that you can think about it differently. Okay, you need to think about this. I need to shut this down. And my apologies about that. I should have had Skype shut down. Okay, so the question you want to answer, right? The question you want them to answer. If you're going to take your PLR, and this is going to be the case whether you're marketing in make money online, offline marketing, or even in one of the health niche or relationship niche. The question is going to be, how are you going to market your product? So in other words, marketing, every marketing system, regardless of who you are or in what niche you're in, you are going to need to operate your marketing system in 8 parts. And I've been over this in previous webinars. I'm going to blow through this, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining this. This is in probably in the last webinar on my channel about the 8 essential marketing principles. If you want to hear me expand on this, that's going to be in that webinar or in that video that's already on my channel. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to run through this quickly. Marketing is a system, right? It is a system with 8 parts. Now, what are those 8 parts? They are 8 essential marketing principles, and you've already heard these if you've been on any webinar I've done or webinars that other people have done. This is a very difficult system to build upon, and it does not, I want to make sure it doesn't belong to Jay Abraham. He just really codified or basically expressed them and kind of got them into baskets so that everybody could kind of get their arms around these 8 things. Now, this is a complete marketing system. So regardless of what you got, regardless of whether you're marketing a digital product, if you're doing all 8 of these things I'm about to tell you about systematically, you will make money. And if you got them done systematically, you will make money consistently without necessarily having to put out enormous amounts of advertising. This system builds on itself. Now, what are you talking about? You've got to have a USP, or in other words, there should be a reason that someone buys your product over and above everyone else's. So in other words, you have to have something that makes me come to you to get it, or makes me come for your product. And I cannot, and it should be something that I can't get elsewhere. And it should be something that matters to me. So this is not a marketing slogan. It's not a marketing, it's not a marketing line. What it is your way of doing business causes me to come to you because I can't get what matters to me from any place else. Does USP make sense to you when I explain it that way? Do you understand USP now that I've said that? Okay, that is what USP means. That is the key part to your system. I don't care what you're marketing, whether or not it's a digital product. Your digital product should have a USP. In other words, your digital product should have one principle I can't get anyplace else. You should be teaching one thing. Even if you teach 10 principles that everybody teaches, you ought to have one thing in your package I can't get elsewhere. So in other words, okay, now exponential marketing. And you all have seen this, right? What's the big discussion in marketing these days? What is everybody talking about? What is everybody selling? Everybody's talking about funnels, right? Marketing funnels, right? And basically a funnel means that I can make money in exponents. Or in other words, I'm going to make money on the first sale, but I'm also going to make money on that same customer when they buy again. So if I make sure that customer has things that they can get upsells, things that they can get that are related cross sells, and things that they can get later on down the line, later on sales, that means that I'm going to make money exponentially. In other words, it's called lifetime customer value. So in other words, I'm going to make money for this customer's lifetime. I'm going to keep them wrapped up in my marketing funnel until I get the maximum on what it is that they're going to be buying. Now, every system should have list building, right? So every system's got to have a list building. Every system should have marketing alliances or JVs. So in other words, if you are maximizing your marketing system, you ought to have some alliances or some JVs. You ought to be able to do some paid advertising or media matching. Now, I realize that the emphasis in internet marketing is how to do it free. That's not going to necessarily allow you to scale. So at some point, once you understand what your numbers are, once you understand what what's converting, you need to be doing paid advertising. So the only reason that you do free advertising is because you want to make sure you get your numbers right. You want to make sure you've got your tests right. And some people actually do use paid advertising in order to figure that out. So if you've got more money than time, you want to do paid advertising. right? So you want to make sure your media matches your customer. Community or PR. In other words, you want to make sure that you are exercising and getting leverage from other people who are already promoting things to promote you also in the community and on the news and in nonprofit circles, all of those circles that are not necessarily business related. You want to get that traffic also. Direct response. Okay, so in other words, you need to make sure that you have good copywriting. And copywriting is done at direct response. You need to have a headline. You need to have a story. You need to make sure that you have a hook. You need to make sure that you have an emotional pitch. You need to make sure you have scarcity. You need to make sure that you have testimonials. You need to make sure you have a call to action. All the classic elements of direct response should be part of your marketing system. Now, all these things work together. Now, you might see at times some of these things will work all by themselves, but these 8 things are things that should be part of your marketing system, regardless of what you're marketing. Is everybody with me? Does that make sense? Right? These all 8 things should be part of your marketing system. And now, and I love saying this all the time, but it's this: all the internet stuff is the 8th thing. So in other words, social media, SEO, blogs, all that stuff. That's number 8, right? So it's not everything, but it's some of the things. So you got to have these 8 things as part of your marketing system when you're marketing correctly, when you're marketing right. Now, so that's regardless of what your product is. That's regardless of what your niche is. Now, who do you market to? You need to understand that. So once you understand what your system's going to do, you need to understand who you're going to market to. So what does that mean? Are you going to market to consumers? Right? Is what you're selling going to be to consumers? Now, in most cases, that's not going to be the case, but you need to figure out what niche you're in. Are you marketing weight loss products? If you're in the weight loss niche, you're marketing to consumers. So you need to start thinking about how you reach consumers. Right? If you're going to be marketing not just weight loss, but you're going to be marketing things that are going to be where the end user is a consumer, that's a certain kind of marketing. Are you going to be marketing to business owners? Right? Now, if you're marketing to business owners, you can market to people who sell to business owners, or you can market to the business owner as an end user. Now, when you start thinking about PLR, you want to be thinking along these lines. In other words, if you get a Twitter product, right? If you get a Twitter product or a Google Hangouts product, guess what? You can market that package to someone who's going to sell to business owners, right? Someone who needs to give information to business owners, or you can market to the business owner themselves. Right? So those offline consultants would be happy to get your content if they can use it in their business. So you can go 2 ways if your product is something you can sell to business owners or those who sell to business owners. Now, you can sell to information product buyers like yourself. In other words, people who like to buy information products because they like to learn things, or they like to do things with them, or maybe they're looking to make more money, or maybe they're looking to improve themselves. Information product buyers, you can market to them. You can market to those who want leads. CPA marketing is basically generating leads, right? You are generating leads for companies. That's what CPA marketing is. Now, some leads are worth more than others. Sometimes that's why you can get a CPA commission that's going to be worth $50 and some's going to be worth $2. It just depends on what the vendor is willing to pay. CPA marketing is all you're doing, right? All you're doing in CPA marketing, you're not just getting commissions. It's deeper than that. What you're doing is generating leads. Is everybody with me so far? Right? Is everybody with me? If you're with me right now, if we're on the same wavelength, if we're eye to eye, I want you to put the number 3 in the question box. If you understand what I'm saying right now. Okay, very good. Excellent. So you can also do leads. Now, if you can generate an audience, right? If you can get an audience together, you can get corporate sponsors. So in other words, your customer ultimately is the corporate sponsor, because what you're doing for them is gathering an audience. You're using your information to bring together an audience. Now, that's a totally different business model, but it is a legitimate one and one that you can use. right? It is one that people use, and it is one that you can use. Now, what are you going to market? So you've got a PLR package, and you want to be able to answer the question, what are you going to market? What are you going to send? What are you actually going to be selling? Now, obviously, you have a digital product, you have digital assets, you can sell a digital product or an ebook, right? That makes sense. So you can sell digital stuff, right? You can also sell a physical product. So in other words, you could actually literally repurpose your PLR into a physical product or a book, and you can sell that book any place where books are sold. You can market other people's products with your PLR. In other words, you can use your PLR to attract people so that you can sell affiliate products. So in other words, whether or not you use it on your blog to attract them through content or use it as a giveaway, you can sell other people's products by using PLR. Classic business model. Now, here's the deal about digital products. You already know this. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but digital products offer the most leverage for your purchase. So in other words, you're going to use this and you're going to resell or reuse it as a digital product. That's going to give you the most leverage for your time if you understand how to do it. Digital products allow for multiple business models. So in other words, you can set up a business system that sells digital products. You get one moving and you can set up another one right after that. They allow for maximum flexibility. In other words, you can also sell audio and video. You can sell audio, video, and text. You can sell audio, video, and transcripts. Lots of flexibility with digital products in terms of being able to put together an offer that people will find that they like and want. So here's the question. Now that you know all this, how am I going to use PLR to do this? Right? That's the question, is it not? How am I going to use PLR? That is what you want to know. That is what you want to be able to do because you want to be able to leverage what it is that you have. Now, so that's the question. And so I want to just kind of go through. So what do you have when you have rights products? Right? What do you have? What do you have in your hand? What do you have on your hard drive? What is a rights product? Now, I'm not going to be going through, so let's skip the definitions. You already know what MRR is and PLR. So, because really for the sake of this discussion, it doesn't matter. What master resale rights is and what PLR is, and we don't have to define all that. For those of you who have been in the game for a little while, you already know what that is, right? Now, well, let me not do that. Let me not assume that. Let me ask you a question. Now, for those of you who are on the call, just put the number 1 in the question box if you like an explanation on what rights products are. But if you understand already what we mean by PLR, master resale rights, or any of the other designations, put a 2 in the question box. So if you want me to do it, you don't understand, just put a 1. If not, just put a 2, and let's go forward. Okay, great. So what do you have when you have a rights product? What do you have? What is it that you can actually do? What a rights product basically means you didn't do the work. So you don't have to do the research. You don't have to write it. You don't have to do sales pages. You don't have to do the videos. You don't have to do the packaging. So you have a product. You have raw material to create a product. And I really want to make that. I really want to make that stick with you. Right? That is what you must understand about rights products. They are raw material. So even though, yes, you can put up a sales page, what you have is raw material. That will make a difference to you, the way that you are going to use it, certainly, but you want to make sure that you understand that what you have is raw material. Now, what you want to ask, now, what about the weaknesses? Right? So what about all those weaknesses? Now, I want to tell you, and what I'm going to talk about tonight is that you can use PLR and still have authority. So even though the weakness of PLR, when you get a sales page and all the other stuff, you can buy PLR, use it, and build authority. You can use it and attract affiliates. You can use PLR even if 10 million other people have sales material. Right? Doesn't matter if everybody has the same stuff. Everybody can have you can get something, and you don't have to worry. What I'm going to explain to you tonight, you do not have to worry about saturation, right? Saturate. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. PLR is still the best. I mean, you can. And here's the other thing. And I know you're not going to believe me when I tell you this, but it's the truth. You can even use out-of-date PLR, and you can still profit. Now, I'm not talking about doing anything unethical, but you understand what I'm saying when I get through this webinar. Okay, so you can even use out-of-date PLR and still profit, right? So rights products gives you raw material, and when you understand how to use it, you can still profit. And I want to say this because I believe it. I believe it with everything that I am inside of internet marketing. Rights products, they are, and they will always be the best investment in your internet marketing business. They are the single best. When you start talking about digital products, I don't care what it is, rights products will always be the best investment in your internet marketing business. Now, I'm going to get into why that is. So you want evidence, right? And I talked about a little bit about this in my last webinar, and I want to go through this one more time so that you understand it. If you were not on that webinar, or even if you were, let's go through this again. What is the evidence that rights products are a great investment? I want you to take a look down through history at some of the best selling books and information product creators ever. Now, I'm talking about people who sold information products before the internet. Right, who sold gazillions of dollars when it was really hard to sell, when you had to send it in by mail, when you had to send checks and money orders and all this other stuff, and people still came up off the money, and these people sold gazillions of dollars in information products. So I'm telling you that when you understand what you are and what you have, you will understand that you are in the right business and you have the right material to make money on the internet or any place else. Tell me, now, how many of you all have heard or you have the book or some book or a book, one of the series of Chicken Soup for the Soul? How many of you all have seen that book, or you have one of them, or you've read one of them, or you've heard of it? Okay, now if you take the time to flip through Chicken Soup for the Soul, and I love asking this on the webinar, how many of you have found that you learned something new in Chicken Soup for the Soul? How many of you all learned something new? Not many of, exactly. There's nothing new in Chicken Soup for the Soul. In fact, what Chicken Soup for the Soul is, they're all stories and maxims that have come from other publications and other information. It is basically a collection of stories and private label rights. They've never called it that, but that is basically what it is. Chicken Soup for the Soul. It has been a huge hit. They built a franchise around it, and the basic concept still works. That is part of the evidence that I can tell you that rights products are still going to be your best investment when you understand that you are an information marketer just like the guy in Chicken Soup for the Soul. How many of you right now, you understand you are a marketer just like the person in Chicken Soup for the Soul if you have 10 master resale rights products? How many of you all understand that now? If you understand that, put the number 3 in the question box. You are the same as they are. If you have a collection of information on any topic, on any genre, on any one subject, you are just like them. You have the power to put together a franchise in any subject or any niche where you're collecting information. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. How many of you, I'm looking for the book that I can't see it. I'm looking for it in my library right now. But 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, how many of you learned something new in that book? Right? Was there anything new in that book? Seek to understand before you're understood. Is that new? See, what I'm telling you is that when you start thinking of yourself as the information marketer and you start positioning what you have and you start taking what you have as raw material to put it together in a way that meets the marketplace, you are actually going to be more effective than just putting up a sales page. Right now, Think and Grow Rich was a collection of stories and interviews. It was not a work of art. And in fact, as a matter of fact, if you understand the story, the guy didn't necessarily get off to a great start. In fact, this guy probably died broke, even though he had all of this information. So understanding yourself as an information marketer, you can put together something just as powerful if you understand it in that context. Now, there's a book, and I'm going to have this as a link later on. There's a book called Education of Millionaires that sold a gazillion copies. It was written by someone within the last couple of years, and all he did was took a concept that he found in just a basic concept and did interviews and called it the Education of Millionaires. Now, this is something that you might have to go digging for, right? You might have to go to Wikipedia, or you might have to go on the internet. I want you to look up, after the webinar is over, I want you to look up the concept called the Memory Palace. Now, that concept has been around, I'd say, almost for centuries. Right? For centuries, the Memory Palace has been around. But here's what someone did. How many of y'all have ever heard of Kevin Trudeau? Well, you probably heard of him a lot because he's in jail. But don't do what he did in order to fake people out. But a long time ago, probably about 20 years ago, put together a product called Mega Memory. And you know what? Now, and here's how I know that this is just a concept that none of these guys came up with. I bought the same product from a gentleman named Harry Lorraine. And Harry Lorraine said, well, I came up with this memory system. And it was remarkably similar as Kevin Trudeau. Someone else I'd say 2 years ago, wrote a book called Moonwalking with Einstein. It was about the memory palace. In other words, this is something that came down in history that's in the public domain. Someone repositioned it, and now it's presented as new information. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you understand that you are an information marketer, what you have to figure out is what the market is, and you use your PLR material in order to make something that fits what people actually want. Now, information product buyers are typically looking for only one new idea, right? They're not looking for you to dazzle them with your brilliance. They're typically looking for one new idea. Now, how many of you are like me? Right now, if you're like me, how many of you will buy more than one audio book on the same subject? More than one book, more than one ebook, info product, or any subject that you're motivated to learn? How many of you all will do that? Yeah, a lot of you. You'll buy several on any one subject, not because you're dumb or you got shiny object syndrome, because typically we're looking for one new angle. We're looking for one new thing that could make the difference. And so when you consider yourself as a seller of information, a seller of solutions, someone will come to you if you have something that's uniquely, right, providing a solution in a particular niche where you have gathered information. They will buy your book, your ebook, your audio book, your info product. When they're motivated to learn it, they will buy it. They will buy it from you. Now, I want to tell you about something that I learned from being inside of a Kindle fiction group. Now, you might ask, now, what's a PLR guy doing inside of a Kindle fiction group? Now, I do reconnaissance, and I buy products just to understand the business model. And here's one of the things I learned from that group. Now, people that have the most success in Kindle, right, they sell series. So in other words, it's not just that you wrote the book. Let's see, what's a popular series these days? I don't really read a lot of fiction books, but let's see, what's this? There's one called Divergence, right? Divergent. And there's another one right after that one. And there's another one right after that one. And there's another one right after that one. And people keep buying them because people like to collect things. And when you start to understand that, then that's why you might make, when you start putting out products, you need to create collections, right? And so people will buy your collection just because people like to collect things, if you provide them value naturally. Now, That is the evidence that Wright's products are a great investment. So what should you do with PLR? So what should you be doing? What should you be putting together? How should you go about it? Now, I want to use as an example our own Wealthy PLR Google Hangouts product. Now, any one of our products will do. Any one of the products you can use what I'm about to tell you right now. So it doesn't matter what it is. I'm just going to take Google Hangouts as an example, right? So if you have any of our products, you can do this very same thing that I'm about to tell you as I go through this model. Now, one of the things that I want to share with you, and I didn't share with you at the beginning, I will share with you right now, and I want you to take a look at it after the call. Okay, and I'm putting this link into the chat box. I'm putting it in the question box. Now, here's what Dr. Stanley's article said. Now, Dr. Stanley wrote the book, The Millionaire Next Door. If you haven't read it, you need to read that book. Fantastic book. Now, but now here's what Dr. Stanley says. Business owners that are the most wealthy never sell to the ultimate consumer. So in other words, business owners, let's see, I didn't put the whole link in there. I should did. Let me put the whole link in there. Okay, my apologies. So I'm going to put the whole link in there now. Dr. Stanley says that basically this. Now, business owners that make the most money and generate the most wealth never sell to the ultimate consumer. So in other words, one of the reasons why you're in the right place when you're buying PLR and you're in the make money online niche and you're going to help people be able to generate more business is this, because people who want to make money buy stuff. Right now, most of you on this call, you're in the make money online niche for information marketing. I realize that, and you're in the right place. I realize it's competitive. I realize that it is that a lot of the information that's going around probably leads people in circles. But if you do what I'm telling you to do tonight, you'll be able to differentiate yourself. And Dr. Stanley says that you are in the right market if you're selling to business and not the ultimate consumer. Now, next thing. Here's what you're going to do. What you want to do first is break up the PLR. So in other words, you're going to get the PLR, and there's probably going to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 videos in the package. Or 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 chapters. Doesn't really matter. Or 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 articles. And you're going to break it up and look at the subjects. Now, I'm going to stop right now. Is everybody with me? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, you have your PLR, and we're talking about any package. So now you have the folder open. You are looking at the videos, and you see, and you're looking at the title of the video. You're looking at the title of the article, and you are looking at 12, 13, 14 subjects, each one an article, video, or something. Okay? All right, good. So that's step one. Once you've broken up your PLR and you look at the subjects, here's what you're going to do. You are also going to try to do your best. Now, don't listen. I almost hate telling you this because I don't want you to get bogged down with this. And don't spend your whole lifetime doing this. Now, you want to try to go to forums, Skype groups, and Facebook groups. And I'm not talking about for weeks. Right? I'm not even talking about for days. I'm talking about spend a day. Go through forums, Skype groups, and Facebook groups in your niche. Determine what people are asking. What are the questions? What are the frequently asked questions? Also, what questions should be asked? Now, this concept is not familiar to me. Actually, it's one that was the person who kind of came up with this, his name is Mike Koenigs. He used to do Traffic Geyser. Right? And it was actually a brilliant concept. You find the 20 frequently asked questions, and then the 20 should be asked questions, and you want to write them down, and you start to think about, okay, which of these subjects belong in a discussion of my whatever my product is going to be. So in this case, you need to be finding out what questions do people have when it comes to Google Hangouts. What problems are they trying to solve? What things should they be trying to do? You want to know where people are and what they're doing in Google Hangouts. So you need to be inside of where marketers are hanging out talking about Google Hangouts. You want to be inside of those groups. You want to be inside of Skype groups, where they're talking about what they're doing with Hangouts. And you want to find out whether or not they have technical questions, whether or not they have traffic questions. Find out what it is they want to know, and then write those things down. Now, here's the key. Here's something that you can really do that's really ninja, in my opinion. Now, if you go to all the forums, Skype groups, and Facebook groups, you're going to be like everybody else, right? Everybody else is going to have pretty much the same thing. And it's not bad research, right? I've done well doing research like that myself. However, as is the case with everything else, right? Things are always going to be more real offline. I'm telling you, I don't know why that is, but if you want to do some research, let's say that you go to a networking group. And I know networking groups, they pass around business cards, and it's old school. Find out what these people don't know and what they want to know. Find out what these people want to know in these trade forums. In other words, you want to find out what people are asking in the plumbers trade union about internet marketing or about Google Hangouts. Find out what they're asking. Those are real questions. Internet marketers have certain questions, but you want to find out what people are asking offline in addition to online. Find out what they're talking about in trade groups, right? Find out. Now, again, you don't spend days, weeks, or you don't spend days on this. I'm talking about a day, right? All this research you should be done with in a day. So I'm not talking about, I'm going deep down in the research and I got research assistants. No. You go and you do your research and you're gathering information because what you're doing, remember, you need to have a USP and your product needs to be unique. And what's going to make your product unique is that you're covering problems that people really have in the marketplace. Problems that people really want to solve. And you verified that by going to see what real people are talking about. When I have a product by a really expensive product by Evan Pagan. I'm going to reveal something that he revealed to this to the people who were at this seminar. And what he said was actually, I didn't think much of it when he said it, but it's actually been very helpful and very genius for me. Do you know that marketers all do you know we have a language? We all talk in this kind of really weird, funny, strange language that other people don't talk in. People don't talk in our language. People don't talk like us. They don't talk about the same stuff. You need to find out what people really talk like. You need to find out what real people's language is. And the best way to do that is go to Walmart and look. I'm not talking about being weird, right? When you're standing there and people are standing behind you, listen to what they're talking about. Listen to how they're talking. Listen to what the checkout person's talking. Listen to their language, because that language will be a clue as to what real people say and what real people talk about. Now, if you're selling to other internet marketers, of course, yes, you need to know what marketers talk about and how they talk. But what your niche is, you want to find out how real people say things, because that is how they're going to hear it in the copy you put together. Now, it's optional at this point inside your PLR package for you to watch the videos or read the ebook. That's not the point. Okay? It really isn't. Your point is to find the subjects and then to find out what people want. Your job is to find out what the market is, right? So, yes, if you want to watch the videos because you want to learn them, you want to find out what's in them, that's not the point of this. The ebook is not the point of this, right? So yes, if you want to get into the content that you bought, do that. That's cool. Now, what you want to do next is you want to go to Amazon Kindle and profnet.com. If you don't know what those sites are, write them down. Profnet.com. Now, what are you going to do there? What are you going to do at Amazon Kindle at profnet.com? You are going to take each subject, right, your frequently asked questions, your should be asked subject. You should have about 15 or 20 when you're done. You should eliminate the ones that are just not going to be important. When you got 15 or 20 subjects to put something together, you're going to find at least 20 experts. Typically, you want to find 20, 25, or 30. Now, what are you going to do with these experts? Here's what you're going to do. You are going to contact them and ask them if you can interview them on a certain subject. Don't ask them. Don't call them asking them if you can interview them on Google Hangouts. Look, find out how much they know about Google Hangouts, but ask them if they are willing to talk about a specific subject, right? Specific. when you ask them, you're going to go through your subject list, and you're going to say, when you write to them, you are going to say, "Hi, Charles. My name is Charles. Hey, I noticed you've got a book out on Google Hangouts, and it seems as if you really have a handle on the subject. I'm doing a series of webinars or a series of calls. I'm putting together an information project, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to tell me or allow me to interview you on this subject. Now, what I'm willing to do is I'm willing to promote this webinar across the internet and give you exposure. Right? What I really want to do is I'd like to have your expertise, but I'm willing to promote you and promote your call throughout my entire network so that everybody gets an opportunity to hear you. As a matter of fact, if you have a book, if you have a webinar, if you have something that you really want people to hear about, I'm willing to tell them about it." Does that make sense? Okay, is everybody with me so far? So you've contacted the experts, and this is your pitch to them. Now, when you contact them, you're going to ask them about something specific, not just about Google Hangouts, a specific subject that you've gathered that people are really having a problem with. Now, once you do that, so now you've gotten all this content, how are you going to construct it? How are you going to put it together? Now, naturally, one of the ways to do that, we just talked about that. With your interview subjects, you can do a live Google Hangout. You can do a blog talk radio with them. The content is still the same. You can do a Skype interview and record with Pamela. That's a lot less expensive. You can do a live webinar with GoToWebinar or with, what is the other one? Cybernetical Live or any of those Hangout systems. You can do a live webinar with them because you are promoting them. Right? They've got to get something from this. It's not just about you getting what you want. It's about giving them what they want. If they've written a book, people are always looking for publicity. And the best thing you can do for them is interview them as a third party. Now, you want to promote the webinar. Right now, I meant to have a link in here. There are 50 ways for you to promote any webinar. And if you email me and you ask me about that, I'll be happy to share that link with you. Right? If you have a webinar or you do a Hangout, there are 50 things you ought to be doing beforehand in order to promote it. Right? Google Hangout, webinar, whatever you're going to do, 50 ways apart from your email list. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take those interviews, whether it's audio and video or video and audio or audio and text, or if you get email interviews, and you're going to turn them into a video course, an audio course, Kindle book, ebook, gift, whatever you want to turn it into. Right? Whatever will make you money, you turn it into that particular content. You use the PLR sales materials that you got to write your sales pages. Right? That's how you're going to write your sales pages with your PLR sales material. You use your PLR as a squeeze page, and look, if you're not confident about doing a sales letter, or you're not confident about your copy, do a video sales letter. Now, there is, and I'm going to suggest, I'm going to give you the name. What you should do is Google a gentleman named David Fry. David, and Fry is spelled F-R-E-Y. David Fry. And look for 12 points of writing a sales letter. And that is how you should write your video sales letter. Don't worry about trying to write a long copy sales letter. Now, certainly if you have the money, hire it out. Right? If you have the money, hire it out. But if you don't have the money, or you don't want to spend the money, or you're just testing this out, write a video sales letter. Use David Fry's guide, David Fry, David, F-R-E-Y, 12 points to writing effective copy, and write your sales letter according to that pattern. Now, I've done that for years, as well as some of I'd say I think I'm in good company. Brian Dice does it too. Right now, I wish I'd say I had gazillions like him yet, but I'm on my way. Okay, so now here's the other thing you can do. Now watch this. Now, you could when you put together something at high quality, and nobody will tell you this, right? Nobody will tell you this. Guess what you could do? Right? You probably didn't think of this one, but you could become a PLR seller. You could sell PLR on Google Hangouts when you really have something unique to offer. You can then put together, package it up, and sell it to other marketers. right? The best thing to sell is not to the guy looking for the hole. You want to be the guy selling the shovels, right? Sell to other marketers who want to sell to other people, right? If you can get between a marketer and their customer and help them, they are going to be willing to give you money, right? Become a PLR seller. Now, where are you going to market this product? Whatever it is, book, ebook, audio product, where are you going to market it? You're going to market it offline and locally. If you're not marketing, and if you're not marketing your internet marketing products in your local area, I'm telling you right now, as I do in every call I do, you are leaving money on the table. I guarantee you. If all you're doing is trying to hunt down Facebook groups and all this other stuff, and you don't have a hard copy, you don't have a physical, I'm just telling you, you're leaving money on the table. There are people who will be willing to give you more money than people will be giving you online for that same product if you start marketing your stuff online. Your website should be on your business card, on your tagline, in every email you send, in every bit of correspondence you send. It should be on every letterhead you send. It should be in everything you do. I'm Charles Harper at GainMindShare.com. It's on everything. It should be like flowing from your lips like natural. Everything you do, you should be marketing offline and locally within your network. Most of you have an extensive business network. People respect what you do. They respect your marketing. They respect what you're trying to do in your business. You need to be marketing within your network. Market your product. Market, ask them to get people to be your affiliates. When you have a unique product, you market within your network because you want people to buy it so they can become your affiliate. Put your product on Udemy, on Yes Course, and now lynda.com is harder to get into, but it's worth it when you do. Get yourself onto lynda.com. Sell your course on yescourse.com. Sell your course on udemy.com. You have something unique. You have something that has value. You have experts behind it. Put your product all over the place. This is really ninja. Right now, I'd say about 2% of you are actually going to follow through on this, and some of you are not going to follow through at all because you don't think it's going to happen. But you need to, if you have a unique product that's powerful, right, on a subject, and Google Hangouts is one, right, put it on a deal site. What do I mean by deal site? Living Social, right, a Groupon, any of those sites. And now, if you start looking, now I want you to start. Here's what I want you to do after the call. I want you to get on the mailing list of Groupon, Living Social, Eversave, and all these places. I want you to start looking for online courses. When you start seeing online courses come up, I want you to save the email because that'll be evidence that you can put your course on there too. Right? Deal sites. The Warrior Forum. Now, I want you to understand the business model when you put it on the Warrior Forum and other forums. Of course, you can put your product on the Signature, but you want to put it on the Marketplace. Now, here's the business model when you start putting your product on the Warrior Forum. What you're going to do is you're going to be doing a launch model. Right, you want to put your product every place because a launch model is basically going to work in terms of snowball. Now, I'll explain this to you in a minute. You want to put your product on ClickBank, on JVZoo. You want to make sure it's on Amazon, on eBay, on Craigslist. It should be every place. And it should be on all your internet stuff, your blog, your podcast, video, SEO, social. So when you start talking about how am I going to get traffic to my product, how am I going to get traffic to the sales page, something that's unique, you have a boatload of places that you need to be putting your product on. Now, you are using a product method to build your business when you do this. Now, what's the launch model? You want to make this product evergreen as possible. So in other words, even though you're solving products, you want to make sure that it's going to be timeless. So you want to make sure that people can basically get the information they need, and then all you have to do is update it so they can keep buying. You want people to be ready to buy this product in 2 months, 3 months, 8 months, and all you got to do is an update. Okay, now, listen, when you start this, if you don't have a list, don't expect everybody to just know you right out the gate. Okay, so not everybody's going to know you at the start of this when you start creating products. I know what you're thinking. Well, if I create a product, who's going to buy it? Now, nobody's going to know you at the start. And when you actually launch on some place like the Warrior Forum, somebody is going to buy from you, even if it's just 3, 4, 5, 6 people, right? Somebody is going to find you and buy it. If you promote every place that I just told you to promote, and you put that product someplace, you are going to get some customers. I don't know how many you're going to get. It depends on what they perceive your product and how well you match it to the market. But somebody is going to buy your product. And a few sales are better than none, because what you're trying to do with this model is when you finish that first product, you should be ready to create the second product. You should be, listen, the model of this is you create one product, and when you get done creating, you get right back into the lab and create your next product, and you do that with PLR. You leverage your existing buyers list. And you might say, now, I don't have a buyers list, but you will have a buyers list when you actually get buyers. So when you put your product on Udemy, on the deal sites, on the Warrior Forum, on JVZoo, and all these places, and you start asking people in your network, you start selling it all over the place, you are going to get some sales. And what you're going to be doing is you want to leverage that buyer's list. Okay? Make sure you've got your autoresponder in place. I know I say that in every call, and not all of you are going to believe me, but you need to make sure your autoresponder is in place. And what you're doing is you're building a snowball. What do I mean by a snowball? In other words, you're going to create one product, you're going to get 10 sales. And then the second product, you're going to get a few more sales because your list is going to buy from you, and you're going to promote in all those same places. Your third product, you're going to get your list to buy from you because they trust you, and you're going to then, okay, here's the key, you're going to promote in all those places. You are building a business snowball. Look, this is how a number of marketers started. Right? And look, I know that everything that you hear about how to get started is just get started big, right? But this is how you build a business. This is not a now business model. In other words, you're not going to get all the money right now. You're not going to get rich right now. Okay, and that's not the point, because what you're trying to do is build and establish yourself as an authority with the people that actually know you, like you, and trust you. And if that's only a few people right now, so be it. But you build a snowball. When you get done with product 3, you leverage your existing buyers list, and you go and promote your fourth product amongst all those other places, and you're going to get more sales. You are gradually going to build the kind of list and and again, you're not going to get rich quick, but look, what you want to think about when you start doing a snowball is this. In order to build a business, you are planting a seed. You are planting a seed. You do not eat your seed, and you do not neglect your seed. What do I mean by that? A business snowball, you have to be willing to let it grow. You have to be willing to stay at it. You have to be willing to push it and keep pushing it even though you're not getting rich. Because, look, how many of you, and answer this question for me, if you put a product out there and you got 3 sales, yes, you wouldn't, that's not 1,000 sales like somebody else that did launch today. But would 3 sales be more than you had last month? For how many of you would 3 sales be more than you had last month? And it's your product with no affiliates. You build a snowball. And most of us are not willing to build a snowball. We're going to run and quit it if it doesn't produce 10,000 sales right out the gate. A business snowball is based on your credibility and trust. You get buyers to buy from you based on the fact that you put together a quality program and they believed you, right? You resonated with them. Your sales page said something to them. They heard it from you. Guess what? There are going to be some people who buy from you because they're not going to buy from anybody else. They're going to buy from you because they like you. Right? They're going to buy from you because you make it make sense to them. Excuse me. You're building your own audience when you build a business snowball. You're not going to win an affiliate contest when you do this. I understand that. But you will generate sales. And what you're doing with a snowball is you are constantly building up your sales. Now, when I say you're not going to get rich quick, that doesn't mean move fast. It doesn't mean not to move fast. In other words, you need to move fast, folks. Okay, when you get done with that first product, your second product should be on the way in process. You keep moving forward. You keep moving quickly because the activity will keep you motivated. You say, well, I put this product out, I only got 2 sales. Well, you don't sit and stew about that. you get ready, you figure out what you did wrong, and then you start the second product. And you keep moving forward. Now, here's what that's going to do. When you finally start making sales, let's say that you get your fourth product and you get 10 sales. Well, guess what? All those new buyers are going to see what? They're going to see your other 3 products, aren't they? When you create your fifth product and you get more sales, you get 25 buyers, guess what they're going to see? They're not going to see just your first product. They're going to see all 4 of your other products. And so some people are going to buy those too. And so in other words, you're going to be able to do exponential selling, as I told you about in the beginning of the call. Now, you must be consistent in your production. That's the key to this. A business, this is how you make money. This is how you start slow and make a little money. And you keep building it. And you are consistent in your production. You are consistent in building content. You're going to add in your own experiences to your content and personalize it. Now, and the model is simple. Launch, research, build, right? Build your list. Then go back and do it again. Launch the second one. Research the next one. Build again. Launch, research, build. Launch, research, build. Build a snowball. And what you're doing is, now, yes, of course, you should be supplementing this with solo ads, swaps, and JVs, right? And you should be constantly looking for good ad swaps, good solo ads, good JVs, and even paid advertising if you're going to when you start making a little profit. Okay, you don't eat your seed, and you don't neglect your seed. This is like watering a plant. You have to stay at it. That little list of 2 people, that little list of 5 people, that little list of 10 people, that little list of 25 people, that little list of 50 people, you have to nurture it, right? You email your list. You survey them. You make sure you understand what it is they need. You work with them, right? You must nurture your seed. You don't neglect it, but you don't eat it. So in other words, look, and I want to say this, right? Don't live on what you're making with this snowball. I'm serious. Don't live on it. Don't go spending this money. None of it. Okay, if you already have a job or you're already making money, or if you're not making any money, then freelance for the money to pay your bills. Do not spend this money. This is a business and you need to respect it. You use it like a business. When you make some money, you put it back into the business because that's how you build a snowball. You do not eat this seed. I hope that I'm clear about that. You don't live on this money. This is not, you're not ready for the internet lifestyle yet. You're building a business. Now, at the same time, though, don't get into shiny object syndrome. Somebody sends you an email and you decide, well, I'm tired of building products now. This is moving too slow. I'm going to do this thing and this is going to send me traffic on. This plugin is going to do everything. Listen, now, most of you all have been around the game a little while. I know that. And you already know that all these plugins, sometimes you buy stuff, it's not going to make you money necessarily. You still need to have a list. What you're doing here, what you're doing with your PLR, and I'm convinced, PLR is the absolute best investment you could possibly make into your business because you use it to build your snowball and build your authority. Build. Do not live on your seed. Do not neglect your seed. You build with it. Okay, so I realize I've gone about, I'm going to say I went about an hour and 4 minutes, and that's really a lot, about 4 minutes longer than I wanted to go. So that's really what you're doing. You're building a snowball. That is how you take your PLR and roll it into a real business. So now I'm going to stop right here and ask if you have any questions. What questions do you have? Now, I also want to put some links in here. And again, now this is purely a content webinar, but I want to make sure first that if you were looking for the handout to this call, I want to make sure you get that. So I'm going to put that in the question box. I'm going to put that in the chat box. Okay, if you have not taken the training survey, I'm going to actually put that in the question box in the chat box. Now, as you put your questions in there, what questions do you have? I will take time to answer your questions about the snowball. or about anything, right? So you got PLR. This is what you can do with it. Now, does it mean you're going to make $1 million right off the bat? No, but you're not going to have to come back and build your business on somebody else's authority, right? You're building a business on your authority when you do this. Does it take time? Yes. Does it take work? Yes. But you have a business that's based on you and based on people knowing and liking and trusting you, right? It's not fast money, but it works. Okay, any questions? Now, for those of you who want to have anything with respect to connecting with me, I'm going to put my webinar resource in there. That's how you connect with me. You can download that, and I'm happy to connect with you in social media. So that's all my connection points in that link. Okay, that's my webinar resource. Okay, any questions? Okay, so lastly, now, I mentioned the Google Hangouts thing. You can use that PLR to get, basically, to do whatever it is that you need to do. I'm going to put that link in there. And again, now the point of the webinar is not to push that product on you, but it is a Wealthy PLR product. If you don't have it, it'll certainly help you, and it'll definitely help you if you do things the way I told you to do it in this webinar. Okay? Without question. Okay, any questions at all about internet marketing, about any of these things? Any questions? Okay, so now if you want to make sure that you are getting all of the training, okay, you want to make sure that you are signed up at wealthyplr.net/members/training, and you will get access to all of the training, and you'll get it by email, right? Because I do training on a daily basis, right? And I send out videos on a daily basis, and I'm happy to send those videos to you too. Right? And so, yeah, I will put that link here in the box. wealthyplr.net/members/training. I do daily videos on how to leverage PLR. So make sure that you're getting all of your training and that you're taking action. Right? The more action you take, the more you are going to make money with your PLR. Okay, are there any questions at all? Any questions? Okay, well, I certainly hope that this has been helpful for you. I'm going to make sure that you have, I'm going to send a link out there. There's the latest from Jonathan there in your box. You can pick that up if you don't have it. And again, make sure that when you see my email, look forward to seeing you on the next call, and hope that you will have much success in your PLR marketing business. Thank you very much for being here. Get Roosevelt, good to see you, my friend. Dave, man, like old times, Dave. Good to see you. And everybody, very good, very nice being with you. And have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.